I just saw this. I just saw this. Thought it's the most interesting thing. The agony of defeat. Denny Hamlin led 208 laps and just came up short. That's what Motorsport said. Then another person said and retweeted this. I don't watch NASCAR. Did they just have their own AD21? And then I got interested. I was like, wait a minute. That's uh that's that's very unlikely. Let me go in the comments. And then someone said way worse. Imagine Max wasn't even a clear title contender and hadn't been all year. And then they added one more lap on the last race of the season and he won the race and they gave him the title solely because of one race. Sound like 2007 with Kimi Räikkönen. He was never really in the championship fight, but due to some circumstances, Lewis losing a lot of points in China, in Brazil. Wow, 1 point difference in 2007. Different scenario, but this is interesting. Did NASCAR just have a 2021 Abu Dhabi? Wait a minute. I'll go a little bit deeper in the comments because this commenter basically then said, oh, I'd be fucking mad. Is Danny Lewis in this hypothetical or is he just some other driver? This dude said, yeah, imagine Lewis literally had a perfect season, didn't make a mistake in Baku. Oh, shoot. Imagine if Lewis didn't make a mistake in Baku. Nothing, was never behind Max, no tied points in the final race and still lost at the end. And then people defend it by saying Lewis just couldn't perform when the lights were brightest. Whoa. Someone else says the narrative is so broken because NASCAR regularly turns a series into some hallmark crap that ignores 75% of what actually happened throughout the year, like Drive to Survive does. A better job of following F1 than NASCAR Championship. Wow. So NASCAR, Formula One, entertainment shows. They're not even real sports anymore. I mean, who knows if there ever were? You know? There's always been funny dealings. Someone else says, in terms of career, no, Denny is nowhere Lewis. This would have been his first championship after 20 years, but the context around what people are upset about, his father seems to be on deathbed, and this was likely his last chance to see his son before he passes. Whoa. So it goes even deeper. Then it isn't close to Lewis in this. NASCAR puts him in position by having playoffs and one race championships. Larson was better than Danny over the whole season. Danny just played the format. Another person said, we've had about 10 Abu Dhabi 2021 since I've started watching. Holy crap. I'd hate to be a NASCAR fan. I don't watch NASCAR, but it seemed like this happened recently. It seems like it's a controversy. So I clicked on the actual post. People are saying led lap 312, but since they just extended the race, for the fuck of it, he lost. He literally had the championship in the bag, 3 laps to go. Wow, this does sound like Abu Dhabi 2021. NASCAR made sure Danny didn't win because of the lawsuit, but I just can't prove it. Holy crap, what lawsuit? There's a whole thing going on. And of course, I'm not a NASCAR fan. I don't watch NASCAR. But it seemed like, yeah, it seems like this is definitely another Abu Dhabi 2021. And it just looks like the guy who lost out big time. It wasn't as big as Lewis, in terms of accolade or, skills or fame. But it seemed like robbery. Lost to a guy that never led a lap the entire race, didn't even lead the final lap in a one race championship format? What? In a one race championship format? Why take 4 tires? Apparently, apparently he might have pit as well and might have just made it even worse to lose a championship there. Holy crap. But you know what's even crazier? Is my video that I posted recently. F1 to repeat history. Abu Dhabi 2021. Yeah, it's not F1, it's NASCAR, but robbery in sports is nothing new. It's nothing new. It is nothing new. And you know, even as far as sports go, you know, Abu Dhabi 2021 is not even as big as it should be, because the average person who don't watch the sport or is that into it, they won't even understand the significance. In fact, the average person would just think, "Ah, Verstappen wins and he overtook Lewis on track, so it's all fine." You try to explain to the average person that, nah, the sport broke his own rules. They should have finished the race under the safety car, following the rules. The average person is going to be like, yeah, but that's boring, blah, 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 blah. You know, the average person is just not going to be as invested until Abu Dhabi 2021 happens in their own sport. Honestly, whether you like baseball, football, whatever, there is a scenario that could play out that is almost identical to Abu Dhabi 2021. And the only difference is cars versus some other instrument for the particular sport. That is insane. And like I said, you know, F1 has put no assurances in place that Abu Dhabi 2021 won't repeat itself. In fact, I know it definitely will, because now that they've tried it, they've seen that the consequences is nothing. They didn't face any consequence, by the way. FIA Formula One hasn't faced any consequences at all. In fact, the sport is bigger than ever. It's not losing money. Drivers are not protesting. There's not much Lewis could do. And he definitely didn't want to retire after 2021. He wanted to come back and fight in 2022, but the car wasn't there. Part of the reason Lewis didn't even follow through with a civil lawsuit or whatever kind of lawsuit or whatever kind of legal battles is also because Lewis was optimistic that Mercedes can't fuck up that bad in 2022. It turns out they could, and they did. They fucked up big time. Yeah. So it definitely seemed like something similar took place. Something very similar took place, you know? And yeah, apparently this is one of the main reasons why people are, you know, mostly pissed off, is because, you know, he was racing for his father, basically. Can definitely understand how that would even, you know, sort of like rub salt into the room even more. So a late caution robbed Hamlin of NASCAR title in probably final year of championship format. Holy crap. Hamlin was shocked. A vacant look in his eyes, he tried to explain how he yet again came up short in this quest to win NASCAR championship. Holy crap. So it definitely seems that there was definitely, you know, multiple variables in what cost him the championship. But I might have to look into this. I might have to look into this a bit more. But it seems that the race was extended. Under what circumstances or condition, I have no idea. But also something like this taking place in America, honestly, I feel like Americans are probably very used to things like this. Come on now, if you think about like boxing, right? How many robberies have you heard about in boxing? Probably plenty. And that's a big sport in the US. I know. How many controversy have you heard about in basketball? Probably several. Probably not in the same way as Abu Dhabi 2021, but there's small things that could add up, and it's like, do we need to be more strict here? It's crazy. It's absolutely ludicrous to think about. But what I want to get onto is something more specific, is the Felipe Masa, basically the battle that's going on, the court case that's going on. At this essential moment, what we know is that he's seeking financial compensation. That's what it definitely seems like. I don't think a championship being turned around or turned over is in the options at the moment. It seems he's definitely seeking financial returns, financial compensation. That's what it definitely seems. And I got to be honest, I recorded this video before, and unfortunately, the audio wasn't recorded. This is the video. I already recorded it. So I'm just going to touch on the essential parts with avoiding, you know, the unnecessary. But here's what I have to say. A small part of me is happy that Felipe is going through with this, you know, lawsuit of some sort. You might be thinking, what are you talking about? This could risk Lewis losing his 2008 championship. To be honest, I don't care anymore. They've already taken so much from Lewis that at this moment they could take all of his championships and I don't care. They've already taken so much. Come on now. And on the likelihood, if they take his 2008 championship, this just validates Lewis' reason to get his 2021 championship, making him a 7-time world champion again. There's just so many reasons why I don't care. And you might be thinking, they care about Lewis. No, they don't. They don't care about Lewis. It's not about protecting Lewis. And you're an idiot if you think otherwise. It's not about protecting Lewis. It's about protecting this crooked sport and its crooked history. If Felipe can question 2008 championship, then there are so many other drivers and their families and their family estates that can question their own championship losses. You know how many people Schumacher crashed into to win championships? Those families can question Schumacher's championships. Oh yeah, if Felipe can get this turned around, it won't stop here. It's going to create a ripple effect that's going to create multiple more lawsuits. It would basically destroy the FIA. It would basically destroy Formula One. It would. And you know what? I'd love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. Because explain to me a hypocrisy so enormous that they robbed Lewis in 2021. And the other way Mercedes can protest and take FIA to court, and this is based on what I've heard, I might have to check this, but based on what I heard, Mercedes would have to pull out of the next year's championship in order to protest and take the FIA to court. This guarantees no team will ever take the FIA to court. Why? Because no team will pull out of the following year's championship. It would have to be way worse, way more significant. And in that case, the FIA probably wouldn't allow it to get that bad. They'd probably remedy it before it gets to the courts. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine you create an organization, you put such a rule in place that it practically guarantees you teams won't protest or take you to court on serious basis, because in order for them to do that, they would have to withdraw from the next year's championship. That's as crooked as it gets. And you know, they try to tell you that this is somehow normal. It's not normal. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them brainwash you into thinking that this is normal or okay. This is corruption at its finest. This is corruption at its most potent. So a small part of me is happy that Felipe is taking this to court. I'm not a Felipe Masa fan, to be honest. Not at all, in fact. But you know, if he gets the championship from Lewis, the FIA probably gets destroyed in the process, and Formula One, because there's going to be a lot of other people questioning their championship, history, and future, including Lewis. So on the off chance, what, Lewis becomes a 7-time world champion again? Oh my goodness. Who knows? There might be some other stuff we can question that we haven't even considered yet. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? And you know, what these organizations love to do, they love to create new rules that will make their past behaviors justified. They do it all the time. So the question is, will we allow it? So that's what I mean when I say there's a small part of me that's kind of happy about this. But I think it's very unlikely that that championship will get turned over, because it will create a ripple effect that would just destroy the sport. And like I said, I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. Oh yes. Oh yes. Absolutely. But anyway, it definitely seems like, you know, Felipe is looking mostly for compensation. So I definitely think he might have looked into the championship itself being turned over already, and it was probably turned down. It was probably like, nope, we're not going that far. But what you can do is you can file a lawsuit for damages, for financial damages. And we might consider that. I don't know. I'm just going with a guess, you know. And some people are saying what Felipe is doing is destroying his character. It's destroying his history. It's destroying his legacy. What legacy? I'm sorry, Felipe Massa's legacy? I think Valtteri Bottas is more successful than Felipe Massa, okay? In fact, I think Valtteri Bottas might actually be a better driver than Felipe Massa. And I'm not even joking. I think Felipe might be a little bit more aggressive, which is a huge benefit when it comes to going faster and just getting better positions, having better finishes, getting more points, being a little bit more aggressive on that throttle, but keeping in control goes a long way. Simply being fast is not enough. You got to be fast and aggressive at the right times. Like look at Oscar Piastri, very fast guy, but well, sometimes you can say he's not aggressive enough, and there's other times when he's just insanely aggressive, like Saudi Arabia, that overtake. Oh my goodness, I could watch it 1,000 times. So sometimes Oscar can be very aggressive and audacious, but those are with his overtakes. Perhaps it's not just about overtakes. One of the biggest, weakest points of Oscar's racing craft is his pace and tire management. I still think he has some improvements on that to go. But Felipe Massa, what legacy are you guys talking about he has? Like, yeah, he's a decent Formula One driver, but he's not up there. He's not up there. He is not up there. Formula One is such an interesting sport because there's tier to drivers. Like who's in the S tier? Lewis, Senna, Verstappen, Alonso. I would definitely put probably have to put Häkkinen in there as well. Lada, probably got to put Lada in there as well. There's a few drivers that there's multiple drivers that you can put in the S tier, Probably can put Fangio, but I don't know about Fangio because it's such a long time ago that you have to wonder, was Fangio really that good, or was he just, weak competition from other drivers? Because let's be honest, take out Lewis Hamilton out of the sport, take out Charles Leclerc, take out George Russell, and leave Max Verstappen in this sport. Are you really going to tell me that that's comparable? And that's what I feel like sometimes you have in this sport. Every once in a while, you only got one guy and he's better than everyone else. Senna never had that because Senna had Prost. Schumacher never had that because Schumacher had Häkkinen. Lewis never had that. He had Alonso. Lewis is at Nico. Lewis is at Vettel. Lewis is at Verstappen. Lewis is at Raikkonen. And Raikkonen was a really good driver, but after he won the first title, I feel like he just stopped trying. I don't know. It just felt like, yeah, he was just here for the money. Nah, it was definitely just here for the money. But that's what I mean. But who did Fangio have? Someone with really good F1 history. Confirm this in the comments. But you can't be like a Lewis versus Bottas or a Lewis versus Felipe. Is what I'm saying? Because that 2008 championship, that was the Ferrari car. That's what that was. That's the best Ferrari they probably created. That was the Ferrari car. It actually made Felipe look like a good driver. That's how good that car was. Yeah. I'm going to end this video here. We touched on quite a few different subjects, but let me know what you think. So thank you for watching, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.